What's up, everybody? Welcome to another YugiBOOM discussion, and today we'll be talking about
Dark Magician
and Red Eyes
and Blue Eyes. Let's get into it. Alright, everybody. So as you know, Red Eyes, Dark Magician, Blue Eyes will always be the most iconic monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh! Not just in the show, but in the game as well. People will always have those as some of their favorites, and I think they'll always find a way to keep them lightweight relevant. So today we're going to be discussing not just how they do against themselves, but the meta and each other. So let's get right into it. So what are some of the biggest things with the game that you guys noticed is the difference from these three guys?
Blue Eyes is actually good.
I noticed that they weren't archetypes from the beginning, and then eventually they became archetypes because they were that popular.
Yeah. I think it's the most obvious thing to everybody is like the kind of natural hierarchy that's just come with the cards coming out. Like, I think one of the main things we wanted to talk about today is the advantages of the archetype, the synergy of the decks, the overall support each deck gets from its searches to its boss monsters to its summons, when their supports came out, and even like lack of support, you know? So I guess, you know what, let's start with good old wholesome Red Eyes.
Start with Red Eyes.
Red Eyes.
Yeah. So Gary, what do you think is the biggest strength for Red Eyes, and where do you think it differs from the other two and lacks?
Well, the biggest strength Red Eyes have right now is guard dragons.
Yeah.
And we got the weaker egg, we got less support, our Wyvern sucks in comparison, basically. We got a black metal dragon instead of a Wyvern. I mean, I remember in the good old days, it was three. What was it? Red Eyes Wyvern it was called?
Yeah.
Yeah, 3 Red Eyes Wyvern with the bee chicks, and then what was that? Mash dragons.
It wasn't even dark.
Dragons. That you keep recycling the mash dragons with the 3 red MDs. Oh, good times. See, that's when Red Eyes was good. Now you got Blue Eyes with like this shenanigans of like white blue dragons. I don't even know what to say. Like, really, we don't have much to look forward to. Like, guard dragons helped a lot. I'll say that, like, meta-wise, guard dragons brought Red Eyes back to like a powerhouse. Shout out to 6M. They're actually part of the reason why I got like a decent Red Eyes deck with Joe. And the video we looked at with 6M, we basically put together a decent Red Eyes guard dragon deck, which I actually tend to like. 6M had a good strategy with using the Phantom Knights and for example, the little Phantom Knight of the Rusty Bodiche with the Rusty Bodiche. This one is just a good combo with the Fog Blades. Bring it out, put the Phantom to the graveyard, get the Phantom, banish it, get both Fog Blades, bam, set them, and then you got a board with negates, and you're keeping up with the 3 negate meta somewhat. Barely.
Yeah.
I mean, Broken Hand, you can do something.
They're keeping up with it, which I think is the impressive part.
Well, yeah, they're keeping up, but it's still, like, depressing. Like,
yeah.
Look at it. Like, half my deck is literally nothing that is, like, related to Red Eyes. It's almost like, I think I even got some Blue Eyes-like stuff. The Silver Eyes Dragon, like, it goes in Blue Eyes decks.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing that Red Eyes and Dark Magician can relate to this is that your support has been so scattered. Like, they gave you everything. They gave you Synchros, they gave you Exceeds, they gave you monsters that summon Red Eyes, they gave you random types, like they throw in some warrior stuff for the archetype, you know, they gave you a really good trap card, but they also try to give you rituals. Your fusion is extremely restricting. Like,
well, I do want to point out that although you are correct with the amount of support that each of them have been getting, the Dark Magician support has been much more linear and much more direct with what it wants to do.
Exactly.
Versus the Red Eyes has random support that doesn't really correlate with the other support that comes out.
I agree.
And so this one is much more focused than that one. But I think the Dark Magician's support cards are still not as powerful or as the Blue Eyes ones are. I think the Blue Eyes, just kind of shifting over to them, they have the same linear support that they've been getting over the years, but theirs is just a little stronger.
Yeah.
They're top of the food chain, guys.
And then it's like for Dark Magician, you guys have a lot more consistent support than Red Eyes. It's just it still doesn't feel as powerful as what Blue Eyes can do. You know, Blue Eyes they just keep giving Blue Eyes more and more bullshit. Like,
well, for example, Red Eyes, you know how they have the guard dragons and they're decent because the guard dragons.
Did you say Red Eyes have the guard dragons? The last I checked, Blue Eyes have the guard dragons.
Yeah, they both have the guard
and
dragons.
They're a lot meaner, and they could survive.
But the difference is between Blue Eyes and Red Eyes. If they do something with the guard dragons, let's say Konami like bans them, whatever.
Blue Eyes is still good.
You're done for. He still has a way to make his Blue Eyes good, but
yeah, Blue Eyes. That's another thing.
You're done.
And I'll get into that more when we focus completely on Blue Eyes. But what do you feel they should have gotten? Have you ever imagined like what they should have gotten, maybe to mirror like Blue Eyes' type support?
They should have just got the same egg.
Yeah.
That's all they had to do. Just give us the same egg, and all right, now our deck's consistent. Like literally, all they had to do is give us the same exact. If you're wondering what egg I'm talking about this egg. Yeah, I touched this pile. yeah.
Not even the searching one, huh? Just the summoning one. Yeah,
just the summoning one.
I agree though. Like I always personally thought that it'd be cool if like we got the level 1 spellcasters. Like they gave you warriors for some pointless reason, but they sucked. They should have gave you good like level 4 warriors that straight up did just as good as effects as like Sage does and stuff like that.
The Sage
if they were gonna give you warriors, it should have been like Knight with the Eyes of Red, and it's like when this card is normal summoned, you can add a Red Eyes card from your deck to your hand, or like if he's sent to the graveyard this turn for the Link summon of a dragon type Link, like summon a Red Eyes from the grave. I don't know. I know that's a really random effect, but they could have gotten more because it's like it sucks that you already know what's coming for you, and your alternative dragon is trash. I'm gonna say it.
Let this be what it is.
Yeah.
Honestly, all they had to do is they could have gave you guys the summoning one and just gave us the search one, and we would have been literally just fine.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, because like you have the level 1 guy, but he's not the same. He's not an egg that's a tuner, and like
the only good thing that I've been kind of happy about is you could use things like 1-for-1 on the Black Metal Dragon.
Yeah.
And then like bam, 1-for-1 with the Black Metal Dragon, get that out. And you could and then I do the spicy tech of running Link Karibo in the deck just to get that straight to the graveyard, have a Link on board, pointing down, then do my shenanigans or whatever I need to do. Yeah. But it's sad because this deck is like we had to make this deck so combo oriented that for it to work, I have to go first. So I have to win die roll, which I lose second turn, even if I win first turn. And once I go, they're gonna scoop halfway through the combo. I don't even get to do the whole combo because once I'm halfway through, they're like, "Well, if you got your negate on board and it's first turn, scoop." Damn, don't even get to finish it. And then once they scoop, if I don't get first turn, they go. I have to pray I got like Pankratops in my hand or something, or side Pankratops, and hope to God I get that first turn, and they just go and like sad boys.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do to shut my combo down is literally hit twin triangle dragon, and that shuts my whole combo down early.
Or like one of the guard dragons. Yeah, they're pretty good at easy to go. So it's like I think we could definitely say the plus for Red Eyes include being dark and being dragon. Those are like, and it's kind of sad that those are its two main advantages.
And level 7, don't forget that.
And level 7, but even in like these builds, you're really just making them. You're not running Master of Blades, Big Eye anymore. It's just about the Red Eyes Exceed, and then nobody's running Draco Sack anymore. And like,
what is cool is the Red Eyes Darkness Dragon's getting play now because of this meta.
Yeah.
Because of this whole setup, since I have to do such a ridiculous combo, by the time I get this guy out, he's literally a Borolo Dragon on the board, and then I got a Kaiju Borolo Dragon on the board with these two cards on the board. You can't see that.
I'm actually really happy that you're playing that card because that's my favorite Red Eyes card.
Yeah, well, it's like I said, we had no idea what to do for his Red Eyes deck till like people who were more popular than us started showing it, you know?
Because I mean,
and
honestly,
like Team Sam is the big shout out for you because like, we had no idea what to do with Gary's deck, so he took half of what he likes and half of what Team Sam suggested, and he finally got a pretty decent Red Eyes deck, so shout out to the world of competitive dueling for giving rogue players a chance to make decks like this better.
Yeah. Well, what's sad is we're gonna, in the ban list like you were talking about earlier, I'm praying to some like Yugi right now, and then Joey's sister being blind. Like I'm praying to them right now that this doesn't get banned somehow, but TC, was it OCG or TC?
Yeah, I mean, OCG did ban it.
OCG already banned it, so and we're kind of following.
We'll check our sources on that one.
So let's talk about Dark Magician here. So like, what about Dark Magician's good right now?
Well, I guess the one thing about Dark Magician that I really want to point out, because this is we're recording this post Dual Power, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of the new support that came out is very interesting to me, only because it involves a lot of different aspects about the Dark Magician that was never really fully explored. One, for example, is the Dark Magician Girl. I really thought that, you know, when the Dark Magician first came out, that those two would actually be inseparable in the deck. Turns out, you know, for a long time, the Dark Magician was by itself. But now with cards like the bond between teacher and student, let me go ahead and show that for the other people. This is a brand new card that just kind of released. Pretty good. If you have a Dark Magician on board, you can special summon a Dark Magician Girl from anywhere in the deck, graveyard, and your hand, whatever. And then you can also set one of the spell cards listed with Dark Magician Girl. For example, Dark Burning Magic, which destroys your opponent's whole board. And I think, you know, oh yeah, fun fact, I'm actually working on a deck like that for Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, so, you know, keep posted for that. But I'm actually very interested in making the deck, and it's actually, you know, making me happy because there's so much more combos that you can actually make now. Now, that's also combining the fact that, you know, Dark Magician can search out, like, a lot of its cards very easily using the Dark Magical Circle. This is a godsend card for the Dark Magician. When this came out, this made them playable.
Where's my God card?
Yeah, I don't know. But this, you know, combined with the Eternal Soul, both these cards are very, very broken, and I do not see a Dark Magician deck not being played with these cards at all. But
Yeah.
the searching power is really good, although I wish it had just a little more oomph, if that makes any sense to anybody. And by that, I mean, you know, I just wish it had a little bit extra power to it, you know. I feel like it's kind of restrictive with some of its, you know, cards, effects, whatever. Like, a lot of them are pretty broken, but they kind of require a lot of setup.
Yeah.
And so, you know, cards, you know, a lot of Dark Magician decks, they usually run, you know, extra help. For me, I run the Spellbook engine with the Blue Boy right here, and then accompanied with the Spellbook of Knowledge and Spellbook of Secrets. These right here. These are pretty standard for a lot of Dark Magician decks, and I'm pretty glad that this works very well. It synergizes very well with the deck. Now, another thing that I do like about the Dark Magician nowadays, you know, the Blue Eyes, the Red Eyes, and Dark Magician, they each have their own kind of signature extra deck monster type. For example, Blue Eyes is much more known for synchros and stuff. Dark Magician is more known for the fusions. And then Red Eyes, I mean, your Red Eyes deck is a little different, but I would assume, you know...
A little different.
It's different, but I mean, you run like a whole different type. Like, your extra deck is just crazy with a bunch of stuff.
My extra deck's in, like, literally with the term extra deck.
Yeah. Although
it is extra. I got Boral
Yeah.
Road Dragon, Boral Guard Dragon, Soryuja, the Guard Dragons, Phantom Knights,
I mean,
Twin
I
Triangle
would,
Dragon. I mean, that card's just good.
I would identify the Red Eyes with like
Nightmare
Xyz.
Phoenix.
Yeah, I would identify the Red Eyes with Xyz summoning just because there's a lot of level 7s in there, and of course, you know, there is a lot of that for Dark Magician.
They have their fusions too, but the Red Eyes fusions, just like I said, the fact that the fusion card to make them is so restricting just kind of blows, because you're not going to really run poly and other means of summoning them, you know?
No, you're
I
just
mean,
gonna run
unless you
super
made
poly.
like Red Eyes Invoked, I believe you can use Invocation for a regular fusion as well, but yeah, that's just like way too niche, you know? And so one note I had for Dark Magician is just like, I like to compare that they both had scattered support, but like you mentioned earlier, as scattered as Dark Magician's was, at least it fell suit more. And like even with overall archetype synergy or like monster type synergy or attribute synergy, it's like Dark Magician and Red Eyes are both dark, so they can both use Allure and things like that. But it's like Dark Magician can afford to splash way more spellcaster engines where whether you're just gonna run Secret Village of spellcasters for stun, Blue Boy and what you showed for draw power. But it's like Red Eyes, whatever generic dragon support you run, it alters the entire deck for that. If you're gonna run the Chaos Dragons, then it has to be a Chaos Red Eyes deck all about milling. And then like you said with this, you're never really gonna win because of the Red Eyes. You just have Red Eyes in there, so you still feel like you're playing a Red Eyes deck.
Plus,
you know?
Whoa,
if
we're
you had
supposed to
the
talk about
option,
that.
but plus if you had the option, I would personally run Blue Eyes over the Red Eyes because like if you could use the same support on one deck, why not just use it on a better version? No hate on your deck. I really love Red Eyes. I do.
There's a palm tree here because I'm feeling whole kinds of shade.
It just sucks because I personally, as a kid, thought Kaiba was a chode, but and I thought Red Eyes looked the coolest, but once I learned how to actually play, I was like, damn, Blue Eyes is just better than all of them.
Yep.
Better attack, he takes just as much sacrifices, like why would I play either one? And I think like the support in general kind of was unfair to Red Eyes because like I said, you had so much random scattered support, and when you first got support, like the Red Eyes Wyvern you mentioned earlier, that seemed good at the time, like summoning at the end phase from him being sent to the graveyard and stuff. But in today's meta, It's a terrible
You
card.
don't get an end phase.
Yeah, exactly. Versus like the Blue Eyes Stone summons in the end phase, but from the deck, and you're most likely summoning a Blue Eyes that's gonna banish a spell and trap or do something like that, you know? And it's like Blue Eyes. I feel like our support was weird for a very small window of time. Like we had that ritual guy for a little bit, like back in the day, the Paladin. And then once the structure deck came out, they just said, screw it. From now on, anything Blue Eyes related that comes out is just going to be ridiculous. Like fire. I'll search 2 dragons, and then, you know, if you happen to have dumped your stone too, go ahead and get an extra one.
Oh, and guess what? You trading works for everything in your deck.
I've also noticed for like the Dark Magician specifically, you know how like we were talking about extra deck monsters and how they release, you know, random stuff or whatever.
Yeah.
I have 2 random Xyz monsters that did come out as support. It was one of the first waves of support for Dark Magician. And they were the Ebon Illusion Magician and then Ebon High Magician. Yeah. Now, these guys separately, they're pretty weak. I only run them because, I mean, there's so much room in the extra deck. But, like I said, I feel like the fusion aspect of Dark Magician is stronger. So that's where I kind of started focusing my strategy a bit. So, my strategy to summon a lot of the fusion monsters. Like, for example, Dark Magician, the Dragon Knight. This is probably the one you want to go for every single time you fusion summon using the Ayatamais. Only because this one protects your back row, and it's also treated as a Dark Magician, so the back row protects Dark Magician. And you have this kind of invincible type board, quote unquote, because as you all know, there's always a way to break. Yeah. Yeah, you could probably...
What's that on your board? Kaiju.
Yeah, you could still
wait.
Kaiju it.
The only thing I can't Kaiju? Ophion.
And recently... And the cool thing about it too is that with the fusion stuff, you know, you can still use old cards like Dark Paladin. I'm still looking for that the OG one though.
Oh,
yeah, that one's the cool one. This one has really cool artwork, sure, but like the other one you cannot beat.
Yeah.
And recently, you know, we have new cards like the Dark Cavalry. Cavalry.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty cool. I think it's supposed to be the replacement for Dark Paladin, but you can't really replace Dark Paladin.
Yeah. Well, you know what? So, like, I think in terms of Dark Magician, I would say, like, its overall benefits are less fluttered support. Like, usually when it gets support, there's at least one of the cards that come out in that set that is actually viable, or at least 2. And then I think it has way more protection and interruption built in, too, than Red Eyes. Like,
well, it's still a spellcaster deck.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Also, it's like, I know a lot of red players would agree with me when, like, if you take this guy, for example, Red Eyes Flare Metal, you would probably much rather him just negate a spell or trap once per turn rather than him just burn every time they activate something. Because it's like, I feel like they missed the mark with the whole burning aspect from the Red Eyes. Like, it just didn't work out that well, you know, like, no one's going to try to burn that way. If someone wants to burn you to win, there's so many better decks to do it.
They have like an equip thing going on. They have a burning thing going on. They got this weird like.
And it's like Red Eyes doesn't have any built-in protection for itself.
It does
versus
not.
Like, I mean, yes, it has additional dragon support, like I mentioned earlier. Like as if, you know, like we all have Return of the Dragon Lords for level 7 and 8 dragons, and then the Guard Dragon stuff came out, but
Guard Dragon Legacy, man. That was clutch.
But like Red Eyes still doesn't have its like crazy monster. Like Blue Eyes extra deck monsters were all really good, you know, like, and then as of newer, you know, and I don't think it's gonna stop there. And
no one uses the Gemini monsters either. I don't know. They really missed the mark with the Red Eyes support when they made the new monsters Gemini.
Yeah.
No one uses Gemini anymore. I think those are like the more recent ones that came out, but no one's using them because
the Flare
they suck.
Metal or whatever or the other guy.
Yeah, it's basically the regular version of this
the
guy.
Exceed,
if you want the Xyz one.
Yeah.
And he looks cool too, but I mean, he just sucks.
So what would you say is the best thing going for Dark Magician, and what would you hope comes for it? So, or what do you feel like it still lacks?
Well,
nothing.
So I really do think the search power and like, you know, just searching is really good. I feel like we could probably use one more card that would help it out just a little bit more to get the cards that you need a little bit easier, because there are still some cards like, you know, Itemize, you cannot search this. Even though it has the Dark Magician, there's like this ruling with it that they kind of made before the archetype officially came out. And so you can't search out Itemize for whatever reason. But more cards like Apprentice Illusion Magician, that would be dope.
Well,
This is
remember,
a very
you and
cool-
I had an
yeah.
interesting conversation where we said she would be broken if she had the text that said this card is treated as Dark Magician
Yeah.
Girl on the field or graveyard.
That would have.
Like-
I think that's the extra flavor that I would have liked in a Dark Magician card like this, because
Yeah.
otherwise, this is a really good card. It's in the step in the right direction.
Yeah.
But we just need that little extra.
That also would have
with,
made her even better for the actual Magician Girl decks.
Yeah,
It's
would
pretty
have.
crazy.
It would have. She would have benefited 2 decks, not just one, which is really broken. But here's hoping to get more support, like the bond between teacher and student, because that's actually a very interesting card to play, and I think that has potential to have a really good play for Dark Magician.
Plus, we got to get the hunt down for this guy.
We do. We got to get that card really badly.
So Joe, tell me about Blue Eyes.
What's there to know?
They're
It's
amazing.
Better than those two. No, I'm just kidding.
The truth.
so-
all right, discussion
I think
over.
the unfortunate truth is that Blue Eyes has gotten the better end of the stick in general.
They are the stick.
Yeah, exactly. They are the stick that feeds the other. Yeah.
Do you remember
So-
the first broken card, the one that actually gave him a name that came out aside from alternative Blue Eyes Red Dragon? Because
yeah, and
Sage.
she's now forgotten, which would be the maiden with the eyes of blue.
Oh yeah,
she
that's
used
right.
to be considered like, dang, this
Broken card.
chick is annoying, but like
Yeah.
now you don't even run her. Like once Sage with the eyes of blue came out, like she just fell by the wayside. And like, I mean, I have seen some builds here and there that maybe like run one, and like before Ancient Fairy Dragon was banned and I ran Blue
good
Eyes
time.
Invoked, I still ran her because I ran the field spell for Blue Eyes, the Mausoleum of White or whatever.
I probably could have made
But-
a Red Eyes deck then.
Those cards used to be hella good, and it's funny how stuff came out to even make those irrelevant. Like, Shining Victories just changed the whole game for Blue Eyes. Like, back in the day when we were kids and we would duel, I would try to make the Paladin a White Dragon, and it's like he always died to, like, a fissure or something before I could even get a Blue Eyes off of him, you know?
Hey,
Like,
I got a fun fact I just realized. Blue Eyes is the only deck here, or like the only archetype here from this whole set of monsters that has gotten a proper structure deck release with actual meta cards in it.
yeah, that's true.
Ouch.
Yeah, that's what I just realized right now.
Konami, I hope you're watching.
I hope you're watching, Konami. We're looking for that Dark Magician and Red
Now
Eyes
you
stuff.
know.
Come on.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I think with Blue Eyes, right, like, everything we spoke about in terms of, like, consistency and things like that, like, overall relevancy for their cards, Blue Eyes has always gotten, like, a decent thing. Like, we got a decent extra deck monsters, and we happen to utilize a really good level. Like, the fact that we're level 8 monsters, there's a lot of good level 8 exceeds out there.
There's a lot of synergy
We got
with
our
those
own
cards.
synchros. We got our own main deck monsters that are pretty much none of them are bad. Like, it started with our stones, like we've always had for a long time the basic stone, just the white stone of legend, which, when he's sent to the graveyard, or if he's sent to the graveyard, you can add a Blue Eyes to your hand. But eventually they gave us this in Shining Victories, which is just ridiculously broken to this day. The fact that they both are level 1 light tuners, so they're
Tuners.
searchable by Sage, and then on top of that, another level 1 light tuner happens to be Effect Veiler. So it's like already there, Blue Eyes just synergizes naturally with just so much crap that made it, really pleasant to play. And then on top of that, like,
It wasn't that
our boss monsters are a lot more relevant. Like, this guy said no to heavy pendulum summons, had a graveyard negate, and could bounce out to interrupt something or replace himself with something else annoying,
a natural chain blocker.
Yeah, like, and
And it kept protecting all, like I said, it kept protecting all your other dragons.
yeah, and then you had the Return of the Dragon Lords, which we both benefit of, which just
I still hate the combo that this guy Joe right here used to do. This combo right here. Bounce one to pop the other one out, protect his dragon, still next standby phase. Ugliest combo, dude. Oh, wrong card.
And it's funny because they're not even like Blue Eyes cards.
Well,
But I mean,
they
they
are.
are. They're Blue Eyes
They're
cards. but
Blue
I mean,
Eyes. One is this one's Blue Eyes Spirit Dragon,
Oh.
which was funny, is because I for a
Azure
long
Eyes,
time
I meant.
I couldn't take Master out of my deck because Master can summon a properly summoned one of these back from the graveyard. But like I said, I ran more of those level 1, the other Blue Eyes support when I ran the Invoked variant. It's like, for now, it's like Blue Eyes just has such consistency that it's like I'm utilizing the Guard Dragons right now, and it's definitely nice. Like, any deck can benefit from splashing out a red MD from the deck
Yeah.
if it's a dragon deck. It's like before I never ran red MD or Red Eyes Darkness Metal Dragon, because I didn't want to banish one of my already good Blue Eyes monsters just to try to extend because he's such a random level. But if I'm getting him for free out of the deck, then it doesn't matter. He's
But
just
doesn't
gonna
matter. He just summoned.
Yeah,
and
he's
then
just
he summoned
there,
to
and
summon.
now he's fodder for Saryuja.
Oh, and guess what? You can reset him and then summon again. Like, oh my god.
Exactly. So it's like, Blue Eyes has the benefit of being able to run a lot of the new meta stuff people are putting with all types of guard dragons and stuff, and it just keeps continuing to have synergy. Like, I've ran Blue Eyes with so many different things and it's worked. Even running it pure works. Like, we have a good fusion. We have, you know, not talking about Blue Eyes Ultimate, of course.
Yeah.
The Twin Burst was actually pretty good for a minute.
I mean, Ultimate's still a good card. What was it? Dragon's Mirror? Bam?
Yeah, but 3 Blue Eyes back then was a lot harder. Now, like, all these monsters that consider themselves Blue Eyes in the grave would be a lot
Blue Eyes
easier.
deck's so good. You could probably run Blue Eyes Ultimate and just be funny, and it'd
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
Dragon's Mirror. Bam.
I don't doubt it. I used to joke back in the day that Blue Eyes is so consistent that if Maxi ever came back, even to 1, because people special summon so much now, that I would try my best to, like,
Deck
just
them out.
side Exodia. So when I see someone Link's crazy, I'll side Exodia Maxi, and I draw so much that I hope I draw enough to where, like, I go and I can just draw into Exodia. Like,
God, that'd be so disgusting.
Let's
to
make
see.
that deck if Maxi comes out back at 1.
Maxi comes
Blue
back.
Eyes Exodia
Blue Eyes
without
Exodia.
super rejuvenation.
Without super, yeah. Let's
And
do
so
that.
what do you guys? Let's take a funny, interesting take on this, because we
Okay.
obviously know Blue Eyes got the better support, and I don't want to beat that dead horse. What do you think? You wish had mirrored for your archetype? Like, we already discussed, you wish your stone worked a lot more than me. Do you wish Blue Eye or Dark Magician had a lot more of, like, inherent summonable monsters, or do you wish it had more of
Took
its?
the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, like-
That's really it.
All right.
Easier summons
Everyone
and a
wants
little bit
inherent
more
summons.
searching. I mean, again, like, I have no problem with how the Dark Magician is right now, because I think, although yours is still a better deck, I think with the right strategies and if I kind of mix it up a little bit, there's a chance that I can still beat that deck, you know, a few more than just one time, you know?
Well, yeah, that's what I was kind of mentioning earlier. Is it's like one advantage I think Dark Magician has over Red Eyes is, like, when I face Dark Magician, if you don't draw right and someone's, you know, they got that Eternal Soul set and the Dark Magic Circle's already up, like, you're instantly going to get something banished in your play.
Yeah.
And that's a lot more aggressive than just worrying about taking, like, maybe 1,500 points of damage from his Red Eyes Flare Metal before I get rid of it, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, now Guard Dragons give both of us the ability to make an Abyss effortlessly. But
Yeah.
even Abyss, like, you know, it's like the crazier the board you set up, it's like Kaiju's still there. Like, there's still a lot of things. So having overall just consistently and strength is nice. Like, one thing is, like, with Blue Eyes, to be honest, I can still win games just from having dragons on the board. Like,
Yeah.
their effects become irrelevant. If I can just keep poking with 3K beaters sometimes, like, and resetting and searching an effect veiler out, like, that's another reason I miss Master, is because he could recur your effect veiler from the graveyard. But just a lot of different random synergy in the deck, and it's like, I feel like...
I know how we can solve all these problems. Give everyone 12,000 life points.
No.
How does that make any sense?
No.
Dude.
No.
That's perfect.
No.
You don't have to ban Red MD. People can't cry no more. You don't get OTK'd.
Cool thing is,
You would
since-
still get OTK'd even with 12K life points.
Okay, 20K.
Even then, Cyber Dragons could do that pretty easy.
All right,
One
well-
Chimera tech with limiter removal, that's...
Scrapyard.
Hey, listen though. With Speed Duel's out, Red Eyes might actually, you know, be good.
Oh
in
yeah,
that
Speed
format.
Duel Red Eyes deck. Oh,
I'm just
what's they
saying,
gonna have in
I'm
it?
just saying,
they're
that
gonna
might
put
be a thing.
What are they gonna throw in there? A soul charge?
Yeah, that's a little... That was like the worst way you could have cheered up a Red Eyes player. It might be good for speed duels.
Hey y'all, I'm gonna have my $30
We
call
sincerely
the haunted.
apologize to all Red Eyes players out there. YugiBOOM is not liable for the views and expressions of whatever in this video. But getting back to the point at hand, like, I feel like overall, the most important things to look into with a deck is, like, your consistency, the goal of the deck, and its, like, chance against, like, the meta and stuff. Because we are all rogue players who could give a shit less about playing super meta decks. But at the same time...
you're playing Blue Eyes.
But when's the last time you've seen more than, like, 2 Blue Eyes decks in a top 32 to a tournament that matters?
I don't know. I don't check Google or YouTube.
Exactly. That's my point. It's like, it's still, you know, right now it's still going to be to where, like, this deck might still be good, but it's always going to be about the meta, you know? So I'm saying in terms of, like, you just thinking of making a deck good, like, you got to look into certain aspects, and it's just, you know, like, it's weird how these decks have all gotten their own different type of what their goal is as a deck, you know? Like,
The best thing about these cards in general, and this is for everybody who's ever, you know, who feels, you know, low, or, you know, they feel bad about their own cards because they don't feel like they're gonna, you know, do very well. The thing is, Blue Eyes, Dark Magician, and Red Eyes are pretty much staples in the Yu-Gi-Oh community for, you know, the face of Yu-Gi-Oh. So I'm pretty sure Konami will never stop making support for these cards. As, you know, as scarce as it may be over the few months or whatever that they may not release, they'll release a card here and there that will, you know, spark some, you know, interest in those decks again.
Red Eyes Alternative.
Red Eyes Alternative.
And that link that's kind of usable for anybody anyways, or any dragons anyways.
Watch another deck use it better.
Yeah, but my other thing too is it's like I believe like they're immortal in a sense with that.
Yeah,
with what you said, you know, like
I
feel like
oh, go ahead.
yeah, Blue Eyes, you know, Kaiba, Joey, and Yugi have like immortalized those monsters. Like
all I gotta say is I think everyone just hates Joey's sister, man. Like his sister's blind, guys. Like why am I not getting support here?
That has
Joey's
nothing
trying
to
to
do with Red Eyes.
Try to
All
take
right.
care of a blind sister, guys. Why can't I get no support here? Help her brother out.
well, you know,
All
that's
right.
you know, we'll try to help Joey Wheeler as best we can, but for now, you know,
Blind, you.
let's not forget Red Eyes was originally used by a dinosaur player, so that could contribute to why
yeah.
Konami might have not known what to do with
Yeah,
Red Eyes for a
dinos
long
have like
time.
one of the meaner decks.
Exactly.
Should off
Well, that
dinos.
was
Check out the deck
fun.
profile.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to our Kaiba Joey Yugi discussion. Please let us know in the comment section below what you like the best, not just about the deck. What monster was more iconic to you as a kid? Do you guys like Dark Magician, Red Eyes, or Blue Eyes more? What support you guys want to see for those decks, and your overall comments on our discussion period.
Cool.
Yeah, just let us know what you think. Like, subscribe, comment, check out the Facebook, Instagram. Hopefully we'll get a Discord
Twitter.
up soon. Oh, don't forget Twitter. Man's in charge of that. And yeah, let us know what you think. Shout out to Red Eyes, shout out to Blue Eyes, shout out to Dark Magician. Our favorite cards, our favorite duels, our favorite things.